Hello everyone, Max here with Fiction Rant to bring you another episode of Future Tech That Actually Sucks, where I look at technology from the near or far future and give a few reasons why implementing such a technology would actually be a terrible idea. Also, I recently created a Ko-fi account for anyone who wants to support the channel, and you'll find the link in the description. This episode, I'll be talking about solar roads. I'm actually going super near future with this one, since there are actually pilot programs testing this exact idea right now. Heck, there's even an entire company called Solar Roadways that's wanting to implement this very idea, and on its face, it sounds amazing. You can have adaptive striping that adapts to conditions and can update drivers about potential road hazards. The whole thing can be illuminated, improving visibility. They can be heated, so you don't have to worry about ice or snow. And of course, they can add power to the grid without having to clear-cut huge areas of trees for giant solar farms. This all sounds amazing, right? Well, yeah, that is all amazing. And if things went according to plan, that would all be fantastic. But there's a few issues I have with this idea since I live in the real world. First, studded tires exist. Sure, the solar roads would be able to keep ice and snow off themselves, but not all roads would be solarified, and lots of people like their studded tires, which would scratch the hell out of normal roads and would of course do the same exact thing to solar roads, fogging them up and reducing their efficiency. Second, related to the first, heavy vehicles exist. When I was in civil engineering school, I got to learn about what actually puts wear and tear upon a road, the stuff that actually causes rutting and potholes, assuming of course that the road was done right in the first place. Turns out that big trucks do way more damage to roads than personal vehicles, like 2,000 times more, because they're really heavy. And when transporting particularly heavy stuff, you need special permits, which charge you extra because you're actually causing extra damage to the road by doing so. In fact, a big part of the reason why weigh stations exist for trucks is because of the excessive damage to roads that heavier vehicles cause. Apply the same issue to solar roads, and a road that either sees a lot of heavy truck traffic or less traffic but of overloaded vehicles or just somebody cheating would very rapidly turn solar tiles of the road into scrap tiles of the road. Third, upfront cost. I actually used to work for the Bureau of Transportation of a big city, and while there, I did some research on asphalt versus concrete pavement and found out pretty quickly that concrete, or rigid pavement, is superior to asphalt pavement or flexible pavement in basically every way, and in the long run is actually cheaper because you don't have to repave as often. So why don't we use concrete pavement everywhere? Cash flow, that's it. There's a ton of stuff in every city that always needs to get paved, and city government typically can't keep up with even the issues that they already have, as anyone who's lived in a big city plagued by potholes can see. So they just can't go spending extra money on any particular road because it will mean that they have to neglect all the other problem areas. Solar roads would be way more expensive than asphalt or concrete roads, so the cash flow would never support them. Plus, they'd require additional, really expensive maintenance. Fourth, skid marks. I don't need to explain much here, right? Solar panels that are covered in a layer of burned rubber are just not going to be as efficient, and people accelerating too fast or slamming on their brakes will leave rubber on the pavement. Simple as that. Fifth, and this one's fun, vandalism. I don't know if you've seen the damage that gets inflicted upon public infrastructure by either people who are just bored or see some way to gain from the damage that they're doing, but I guarantee that if you put a few thousand solar tiles down in a road in any big city, you'd absolutely have guys going around with crowbars, prying them up and either selling them whole, or you have a free solar panel now. All you had to do was pry it out of the road. Instant pothole. Yay! Sixth, crashes. As we're learning from the popularity of electric vehicles, car fires involving lithium-ion batteries are terrifying. They burn way hotter than gasoline fires, aren't all that hard to start up since all you've got to do is puncture the battery, which ramming other cars is a good way to do that, and they self-ignite, unlike gasoline or diesel, which you can just dump everywhere, and as long as you don't add sparks or something, they won't catch fire. Still super hazardous, please don't do this, but yeah, gasoline won't just go up on its own. Pierce a lithium battery, and you just set it on fire. Battery fires can also burn for literally days if not handled properly, and you have to handle them properly since normal firefighting equipment just isn't that effective at putting them out. All that to say, a fire like that on a solar road would turn it into just a huge chunk of slag. Add on to the fact that this is a power generator that is connected to the grid, and you've got a whole bunch of fun problems. Just imagine losing power to an entire city block because someone got into a wreck. Or heck, because some vandal dumped some gasoline on the street and just set it on fire because they wanted to, or because they have more nefarious intentions, causing failsafes to kick in and shutting down all your power. Finally, seventh, something that was actually pointed out to me by an employee of a power company: cars blocking the light. It turns out that peak usage time for power is between like 4 and 7 p.m., which also happens to be rush hour, when most people are on the road going home for the day. So at the time of day when most people will need the power, most of the solar road would be totally blocked out from the sun by the cars using it. So, do I think that solar roads have no future? Yes and no. On a wide scale like a city, absolutely no future. For all the reasons I mentioned, and more if I sat down and brainstormed with someone as grouchy as me for a while. But for somebody's driveway, or for bike paths or whatever, sure, go for it. It's your money, do what you like. More power to you. Literally, in this case. What I think is a much better idea for the future of the power grid is either switching to something like nuclear, which is way better than it used to be, and there's a lot of people that talk about this on YouTube, so I won't get into it too much. But, if PR for nuclear is still awful and people don't want to do it, no matter how good it is, figure out better methods of storing power. Conventional chemical batteries just aren't good enough for large-scale storage, plus the materials that go into them are awful, and the conditions for the miners that extract it are awful, but that's a whole nother can of worms I'll spare you. But that's all I got for now. What do you think? Do you think that solar roads are the future? Do you know of any other technologies that seem really cool but are actually an absolutely terrible idea? Let me know in the comments, and until next time, live long and prosper, and may the force be with you.